Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope all of you are doing well. So what are the most common mistakes that I see people are making while they respond to the procedural fairness letter? And this is coming from somebody like me who has responded to at least 1000 procedural fairness letters, mostly with success. I'm Niladri Mukherjee. I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant and I practice in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. The first mistake that you do not want to make is to do with the length of the letter. So most of the procedural fairness letter have a decision, have a response time window. It starts from about 7 days till about 30 days, sometime about 90 days. IRCC is giving you that kind of a timeline for a reason. You do not want to rush through. You do not want to make a one-pager response saying that, well, this was a error or whatever. You need time to figure out what exactly are they asking for and respond accordingly. You need to include a bunch of case laws depending on the situation to strengthen your case. You need to form the letter like the way Canadian legal writing principles are being adhered to. So in terms of spacing, formatting, etc., have to be absolutely perfect. Long story short in this point is that the letter should look like it's a legal submission letter and you have devoted enough amount of time and energy to prepare this letter. So length of the letter makes sense to IRCC. If it's a good length letter, I'm not saying that just increase the length of the letter for the sake of it, but you need to prove your point and therefore it has to be a reasonable sized letter. Second is actually quite similar to the first one, and that is the comprehensiveness of the letter. So length and comprehensiveness is mostly related. You want to be comprehensive, you want to be fact oriented, you have to tell about your part of the story and remain to the point. Okay, so that's important. Thirdly is the case laws or the precedents. You do not want to miss out on the case laws if you think that you have relevant case laws to strengthen your point. Okay, case laws are the precedent. So if you are able to sort of correlate that, well, there is a Supreme Court judgment where the judge has said something which could be quoted in your case to strengthen your case, you must need to include that. Those are typically arriving from the legal research. So if you are working with a representative, the representative should be able to do adequate amount of legal research to be able to ensure that all the fact-based relevant case laws are inserted to look like that somebody has actually made a legal submission. Fourthly is the deadline. So if you have received a 30 day, if you received a procedural fairness letter with 30 days of deadline, you really do not have any reason to wait for the 29th day, right? Most of these letters, 99% of the letters could be prepared within a span of 7 to 10 days. So for example, I could tell you from my experience or my professional way of working, I typically take about maximum a week's time to prepare, to come up with a solid response. Then I send it to the client for review and then client approves it and I submit a response. So the sooner you're able to respond, the better it is, obviously, because you then get a decision sooner. At the same time, you're being able to tell to the officer that, you know what, this case is important for me. I do not want to wait for an infinite period of time, and therefore you can request a priority processing or a priority decision on your application. Who knows whether they're going to listen to you or not, but at least you can make your point like that, which helps. Another point that I see, or another fact that I do not want you to include in the letter, is your emotion. Okay, you have to understand how the law works, how the regulation works, and frame your arguments accordingly. A lot of time I see a lot of emotions are there in the letter which are irrelevant from IRCC perspective. So you have to see how IRCC officer would view the situation and make your submission accordingly. Last but not the least, if it is about any fraudulent activities, fraudulent bank statement, IELTS, marriage certificate, or whatever, you do not want to just say that, well, I did not do it, somebody else have done it, now I have made a complaint against that person, but and that somebody else is not a licensed representative. All those points, you're essentially proving the fact that you have worked with an unlicensed representative, which itself is a reason for IRCC to ban you, right? You do not want to talk about who had done what, because the law says that as a person, as an applicant, it's your job to go through every single detail to ensure they are perfect, and only then your representative should submit it. So do not quote those kind of stuff, right? So these are some of the factors that, in my opinion, if you're able to include or think about those while drafting the response, it would potentially help you. As an organization, we specialize in responding to the procedural fairness letter. So if you need our assistance, more than welcome to hop into our website, nuvonation.ca, book a relevant professional consultation. I'll be happy to have a case specific discussion with you and we could go from there. Hope this helps. Bye now.